Hello, hello. I hope the live works. So do say hi if you see me around. Welcome to our first big live event, part of this amazing week of things that we have run in the first ever called, maybe how to say it, release week. Do say hi in the comments if you see me, please. And I am more than happy to maybe accommodate. Good morning if you are in the US times. I am in Europe right now, so it's evening already, no more light outside. Probably for those who are in Asia, probably it's like dreamland for them. But nevertheless, more than happy to have you around with us. And I see some highs there. Hi, Maria. Hi, Richili. I'm more than happy to have you around. So let's rock it. What does it mean this launch week that we have with CodeSandbox? For some, it might mean that much, but for us, it's a huge event, especially because I mentioned it's our first release week, first event considered like this. And we decided to have it because several small and bigger pieces came together in the same time. And we checked to have an activity each day this week. We started maybe with a piece of content, with some live, with some releases, a mix of everything. And you will see the big surprise for Friday will be even something else that we never did it till now, but we are very much excited to have. So today, I'm more than happy to also have Nicolene, who is a product manager at CodeSandbox. He's senior product manager, the most amazing person around to know about our projects and our software pieces, everything that comes from features. And also she is in charge of roadmap. So if you know, we have the community platform. If you do a suggestion there with a feature request, she will be looking at it for sure. And I'm the most your already known host, the most present person in the lives that we have with CodeSandbox. I'm Yana Kiran, engineer manager here at CodeSandbox, and also do take care a bit of the DevRel side that we have. So let's see what we have in store for you. As I mentioned, first day this week, we decided to launch out a huge piece of content that we had in store, and it was written by my colleague Alex Moldovan, who's a product engineer here at CodeSandbox. If you already read it, do share in the chat what was the piece from it that inspired you the most, what triggered the developer in you to say like, yes, this is why CodeSandbox works, this is why I like it. Of course, if something doesn't work well for you or you don't quite like it, do share that with us. Of course, we can improve all the time, and we are more than happy to have feedback about it. Alex wrote in the text how code collaboration works these days, what's the status of it, how he felt the need, and maybe it's good to also mention why this article is important, because I had a bit bias because I already know what CodeSandbox does, but working on CodeSandbox in CodeSandbox is definitely a big difference from other developers or other people that build up software. So Alex literally explained there how him as an engineer, product engineer, working on his own project in his own project, like the code inception, can we call CodeSandbox inception maybe, and how that brought up bugs or features that can be improved, things that we never thought on. So dogfitting our own platform was a big learning for us. Going through the article, you will also see a discussion about how this era of cloud development comes alive, and what is more important. In his case, he mentioned the usage of branch with individual unique environment. He also goes to automated Git flows that we now have, and of course review and comment, which is a big part of working. And not reviews with looks good to me, people. We are more constructive, and we use clear review and comments over there. He mentioned at the end that for him it was interesting to have it as a new default, as a new way of working. Even as a developer, he was looking skeptical at the beginning, having everything in the browser. He realized that there is literally nothing that we did not accommodate through our platform, and nothing that the developer will not be, or will be blocked by, or something missing that he or she needs in their daily work. So yeah, let us know if you love the day one article that we put out. You can find it in our social media. We also have it in the chat shared already. Sorry for mumbling a bit, but I'm really definitely excited by all the work we did these days. So yesterday we did learn something very very big, and definitely I will need my colleagues' help here, Nicolene. Remember, she is the senior product manager that we have here, and she can tell us more a bit about what implied the launch yesterday that we have. What is this unified development platform? Sounds so fancy. You want to tell us more about it, Nicolene?
Yes, I'd love to. Actually, let me go ahead and share my screen. It's better to show than to tell in a lot of cases here. So if you have come to CodeSandbox in the last day or two, you'll notice that there's a few differences here. We have been working on the editor for uh, originally it was for repositories and their branches, but then we created cloud sandboxes because we didn't want to limit anything specifically to repositories. And this new editor, if you've experienced the repository or Cloud Sandbox experience, has been a creation of a work of love over the last 2 years. And the last 6 months or so, we've poured even more resources into improving the editor experience. The goal here is to create a environment both on the infrastructure side, but also in the editor experience that really puts the developer in a place where they feel like at home and they're ready to spend more time creating their projects. We've created something that is going to scale across any size of a project. Using our VMs, we can give you a variety, a huge range of resources if it's something small or something that's a full development project that you're working on with your team. In a repository, we have the resources to support it. So in this release, we give you a new version of the editor, and we also bring the sandbox editor that you have known and loved from 5 years ago and bring it into the same space. Now, I'll start with the sandboxes because that's probably the biggest change for a lot of you. Sandboxes run the same way that they always have in the browser. We didn't want to overcomplicate things when they don't have to be. Sometimes all you need is something really quick and performative running locally in your browser. And so we finally moved it into a more modern editor space. So you'll see a few things that are different here. We have a reduced amount of templates from what you previously might be expecting. The reason is we have found that so many of the work that is created from sandboxes are actually from this list of templates. So this should be a lot easier to find the project or the template that you want to start working from. Of course, you can always create your own template. You can either import a template or you can change a sandbox to become a template that you'd like, and then save it as a template. So that's under your workspace templates, and you can see we have quite a bit. And then these are the official ones that we have created. So when you open up a React sandbox, you will see that it is uh, a new look and feel. You still have all the same main features that you had in the original. We have our dependency picker, we have our embed, we have our console as well here, the preview console, and um, and the ability to bring people in and work with us as well. Now, one of the features you might be looking for is the live sessions. Live sessions will be only on dev boxes. So we have a number of little Easter eggs or little like tools here. So sandboxes, you get a little, if you hover here, you can see a definition. It's not showing up for me. Here we go. So you can understand how it's working. And also if you have any feedback, this is a new experience. A lot of things are in different places. And so we want to make sure you are quite comfortable here. And if there's anything missing or if you notice anything, we are still in beta for the next period of iterations. So we welcome your feedback there. Now, if I go back to the dashboard, I'll show you a little bit about the dev boxes. Well, actually, yeah, I'll start with a React and Vite. Now, this takes a slightly longer time to set up just because we're getting your VMs running, and we'll if we already have a snapshot of the template, which most of the ones that we have created already have that, you'll see that kind of spins up in less than a second. Here we have a number of features that are worth highlighting here. Number one, our previews, they are running on a VM. So you can still share. It's not going to be an iframe, it's going to be a link to a hosted environment. So that's something that is really useful for working with your with a team to you could still share it in blog posts and whatnot, but you have to be mindful of the fact that they are still running in VMs. Another thing that people don't often know about is the fact that we have terminals as well. So that's worth mentioning. And then we all have the exact same um, features from the sandboxes. You'll also notice that this looks a little bit like VS Code. We have made a lot of adjustments to give you some of those smaller features, the nice ergonomics that you're familiar with VS Code, while maintaining a lot of the unique attributes of Code Sandbox. So it's a hybrid, and it is meant for you to have the best of both worlds here. But if it doesn't go far enough on the VS Code features that you want, you can actually open this branch or this dev box in VS Code. So this will run on remote SSH. You'll still get all of the Code Sandbox features, but then you'll have access to all the rest of the VS Code features. And this is also the case for repository branches. Dev boxes are just standalone or dev boxes, and then the dev box or repository branches run also in the same environment, which we're calling the dev box. I think that's it for the unified overview. I'm happy to take any questions.
Yes, please do share questions in the chat. And hi again to everyone there. I love the conversations going, and also very happy to see familiar faces joining us and supporting our live stream. And thanks, Colleen. I saw that the karma or the gods of demo worked and everything went well. And thanks for presenting all the little things that we implement, which it's a huge change. And we hope you enjoy it. Do let us know how it goes well for you or not, what you think that is missing. Hopefully, through the whole process that Colleen showed, it will be easier for you to identify the processes and the flows that you already were using it before. And also, anything that you would like to see more, drop us a line all the time. We look forward for your feedback. And yeah, we mentioned it's a full week of events, right? So what did we launch today? What's the surprise for today? I'm more than happy to mention this. We just pushed out the blog post, and I think it's live on social media too. We introduced AI code autocomplete, and this part is powered by Codeium. And even more happy to have today with us Anshul from Codeium, Head of Enterprise and Partnership. Hi, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on. And we're very excited to talk about this.
Very exciting day for all of us to have this live going. It was more than a fun experiment to try to implement, to improve all the time. And honestly, it's I think for especially for our audience, it would be nice to learn a bit more. How did you thought about Codium? What motivated you to build it, and how it was received outside our implementation till now?
Yeah, absolutely. So we actually started as like an ML infrastructure company many kind of years ago. And about a little over a year ago, when this entire generative AI, wave started going on, we realized we were actually sitting on, the perfect infrastructure to actually build an end-to-end application. And as, developers ourselves, we thought there was no better application to try to build than one for ourselves, for software engineers. And
Yeah.
so we started building Codeium. And we started by, putting into a lot of the standalone IDEs, the common VS Codes and JetBrains and all those in the world. We actually support over 40 separate IDEs. Our whole thesis has always been like, how can we make sure that every developer out there, no matter where they're coding, can get AI powers? That's like always been one of the core tenets of how we've developed. And in a little over a year, we have, a few hundreds of thousands of developers using us actively. So, the platform has really taken off, and a lot of enterprises have actually purchased our enterprise plan to help kind of deploy the tools internally. Um, And so I think a few months ago, one of our own internal developers was using CodeSandbox to try out things locally and play around. And I think he just turned around to us and was like, "It'd be really
Mm,
cool if we're
yeah.
here because we do have a Chrome extension. We do integrate with a bunch of
Yeah.
websites, but then we got in contact with the CodeSandbox team. We're like, does this make sense? I think it was a very easy yes. And so yeah, we've been providing these tools for free to any developer, and so it only made sense to add it to the Code Sandbox community.
Definitely. And I really want to emphasize, because you mentioned so many things that drive us to like having access to everything. As a developer, we also build ourselves as developer a tool for developers. So it's like we are literally in the same page with the product, same page, same drive, same motivation behind to improve the developer experience, the developer way of working, everything to make it easier for our user, which are developers in our case. It's always funny to talk about a user type that is literally your type, being a developer for developers. So
Yeah.
um, more than happy we could accommodate that. And how did you feel the most interesting part of having this implemented in CodeSandbox?
Oh, I think it's just I think I mean it's been over a year. I mean, of course, we use Codeium to develop Codeium, so like I use it on the daily. But it's still even to this moment, every single time you get like a good autocomplete completion, which is like it's like wow, how did the AI really even know this, right? It's like having a 24/7 peer programmer all the time. I don't think that feeling has gotten old yet, right? And so I
Yeah,
think it's the same thing with
for
with
me not.
Code Sandbox, right? Where it's like, you know, I had a few of my developers like kind of like try it out. They're typing something, data session, like, yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to show. And I think that those kind of moments, it just doesn't get old. And so, we're a team that we have n number of developers, and we've already seen those experiences on Code Sandbox. So I think we're all just very excited to have the entire Code Sandbox community, uh, you know,
Yeah.
getting those moments for
Yes.
themselves because I think having those moments not only does it of course improve productivity because now you're not thinking about boilerplate, you're just zooming through your code, but like also it's so much more fun. Like you're just getting these kind of suggestions, you're almost like working with an AI to get things done. Yeah, it's gonna be a pretty cool experience.
It is. And I was laughing a bit because I had this the other day when we implemented something, and I was like, God, I should have thought about that myself. And I was like, oh man, it's even better than I was thinking about it. And that's both fun and also at the same time learning point for like, oh, this I should next time I should figure out. Of course it's helpful, and we do want them to help all these tools to help us do better. But it's also a funny part when you see that they read your mind or even do better than you
Oh,
expected, which is the
100%.
best.
This happens all the time. I mean, I've used it to actually like teach myself a few programming languages. It's like, it's even easy to do that. I think it's kind of one of those things that because, the AI has learned from, trillions of tokens of public code, it knows all of kind of the best practices out there. So like as developers, we know a pretty good set of how to write things, but just
Yes.
having that little assistance without us having to like switch tabs, go to Google or like, search Stack Overflow and perhaps not even know
Yeah.
what question to be asked. All that context already lives within your code sandbox window, and the AI has used all this, information it's trained
Yeah.
on to actually give you those suggestions in real time. And so I think
Yeah.
it's the next step in like in our minds, increasing the productivity of developers, democratizing development. Right,
Hmm.
that's a big thing for like code sandbox as well. That anyone
Yes.
anywhere can write code.
Yes. True.
I think that this is just the next step to it all.
Would this be the most exciting thing AI coming, or you see something bigger?
Oh, if you ask me what the AI world will look like in like 3 months, I'm not sure I could give you an answer. I think this space is just rapidly developing, right?
Yeah.
I think both in terms of like the quality of the models, there's active research going on, but I think there's also different like modalities that are coming up and like ways that we're discovering an AI can interact with the developer and provide value, right? We
Yes.
definitely think autocomplete provides the most value because if you
Hmm.
imagine every single keystroke, there's an AI that's trying to make a suggestion for you. That's I mean, just think how many keystrokes you do in a day. Like that's a lot of potential value that's driven. But even besides that, like passive AI, there's probably other modalities that can really help. And so we're excited to keep exploring that. Luckily, we have a very large, user group and user base that helps, test all these features and gives us feedback. So we do believe that we can rapidly develop new features, new modalities, and hopefully bring a lot of those also to the Code Sandbox team. So, you know, I think this can only really go up. I think we're pretty excited to up level everyone's productivity.
100% there too. I agree with that. And like you said at the beginning, it's very hard to predict. 3 months, even more, it will be even impossible at this point with the rapid development, with the changes we see, with the improvements that we keep pushing in all the levels. I can only see great things coming along. Nicolene, how about our side? You want to demo it a bit and how we have it implemented?
Oh, I would love to. I'll open up my screen again. It's one of those things where we can talk about it all we want, but the best thing is just to use it. And this is something that we've talked with Codeium about, where it's like we don't even have to talk about how much we like it because we spend time using it. It's like this unspoken uh, passion for how fast and wonderful it is. But let's see it in action. Let me cover a few bases first. So this will be available to everybody for free as of today. So you should even have it right now. It is all live. If you already have your AI settings enabled, if you've had Boxy before, you'll see no change. If you don't have that enabled, we have a nice modal showing for you in the editor. So you don't have to go looking for those settings. You can just see that and press proceed. Once that's all cleared up, you will see this view. I'll highlight here that in the status bar, we have Codeium. Now, when Codeium is actively suggesting you, if you pay attention to what's going on in the status bar, you'll see that that there's a change in the UI there showing that it's actively suggesting something for you. But that's not the most attention captivating feature because you're looking at the code complete. So like was mentioned before, this is context aware. It looks at your code and makes suggestions that kind of predict exactly what you want. So even before I push a const or function, it sees that we've got a count feature in the view and asks me if I want to have an increment. So I don't have to think about what I call this constant anymore. I can just select tab and now I have that available to use. The other thing that I love as well is the content suggestions as well. So this has been really useful as I've been writing documentation for this release where I simply type within a text and I get some sort of recommendation for um, language to use as well. And if I ever want to adjust my settings, if for any reason I want to enable this for some dev boxes and not others, we have a manage settings or a link to the documentation where you can learn a little bit more about how this works, or if you want to read more about Codeium, because Codeium's autocomplete is the thing that we thought would be most impactful, but they are just an incredible company with a lot to learn about. So you can read up more there. Anshul, is there anything else that you would highlight?
No, I think like the biggest thing I would always recommend everyone is just code like you normally would code, right? The AI is there to kind of be passive, just help you go along. But my biggest recommendation is like don't treat AI as like a crutch. It is very much an assistant. It is not a boss by any mean. So use it as such. I think Nika, just as you kind of showed off, if you're just typing, like at some point the AI will be like, I know exactly what you want to do. Let me help you complete that for you. And then you just press tab to complete it and you go on your day. So, we see from our developers, new code of over 50% of new code written is written by Codeium. That is actually a real statistic that like we see all the time. So, you don't necessarily recognize it because it's a lot of boilerplate, a lot of characters that kind of just go over your head. But yeah, code is rapidly written. A lot of our enterprise customers, they see some of their tickets close twice the speed, right? So it's kind of a massive productivity win. But just if you just use it as if you just had someone on the side helping you out without you really paying attention to that, yeah, you're going to get the maximum value from the tool.
Yeah, from our end, when we were looking into Codium, we did a fair amount of using it before we had this release, and we experienced everything you mentioned, where it took us a few days to just be like, this is like exactly the kind of assistant that we want. And then really within a week of using it, it really kind of changed our ideas around estimation, our relationship to tickets, how complex we thought things were. So yeah, once you start using it, it's quite difficult to think about continuing without that kind of support.
Yeah, and it's only going to get better from here, which is the exciting part.
Indeed. I was just looking for a second. It froze for me, like the karma of live streaming. I guess it had to hit a bit, but we are all good. And thanks so much, Nicolene. The demo was really well, and I'm more excited to see how people will try it. I also love what Anshu said. We don't have to treat AI as our boss. It's literally a companion there, an assistant. It's there to enhance our work. It's not going to tell us what to do, or we don't have to be, scared of what it comes. And definitely, I think it's a lot emphasized in this discussion around AI that our creativity is the most important thing, that nothing can replicate it so easily. So um, as long as they help us, and I love the statistics that you share with us. Definitely happy to highlight them in our community post. And share more about it, for sure. Thanks so much for joining us today. We did pop some virtual champagne for the announcement, and we're going to see more of the reactions in social media and in the next few days. Yeah, so the week is not over. We still have a bit more to go. Tomorrow we'll also have a surprise for you. Stay tuned. Probably time to remember that you can find us on almost all social medias, or more important, I'm gonna name names there, but you know where to find us. But one event that I'm most excited about is an open house that we're gonna run on Friday. You're gonna get to do a tour, maybe with me, maybe with some other colleagues, maybe online, maybe we'll see. Not too much to spoil. We have to have it as a surprise, but you can right now go into Luma/CSB open house, and you will be able to join. It's a bit of limited space there, so if you want to be among them, go ahead and register. And yeah, don't have fear that you're missing out anything. We have a full week of events. The QR code is for our community, which is CodeSandbox.community. It's our platform where we meet with the community people, ask and reply to their questions. You can set up bugs there, request for features, share your work, which also is very important for us, because each Friday we do run a community spotlight. Yeah, try it out. I think all the questions in chat were addressed, and big thank you to our colleagues like Granilo that stepped into the stream and replied to questions that our community had. But if we have anything left, more than happy to take it. Give it like a second or so. I mean, not literally a second, but around there. Um, and we'll see if something is left unanswered. And broadly, even more, I would say that you can add the questions in our community platform. Let's see from Smith. So, can my students utilize CodeSandbox to submit their assignments? Their projects are primarily involving Node.js, Express, React, and MongoDB. I think
Yes.
Nicolene is on. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the easy answer is yes. With DevBoxes, we support a much broader range of technologies, which is why we wanted to pair it with Codeium, where you could really leverage the power of both. So all of those are supported in DevBoxes. If you have any questions as you get into it, hit us up and we can assist.
Thank you. Yay. And I think we also had another one from Smith saying, could CodeSandbox be used for prototyping project for clients? What would be required on the site to run the project?
So it's really your call on how you create your dev box. Because we support so many languages on dev boxes, we know that some of these are going to be the best place to do prototyping as well. So we want to make that as accessible as possible. The range with dev boxes is the most important, but it can be as small as you'd like. That's why we have all of the sharing features within dev boxes as well.
Great. I think that's the unanswered questions. I am also happy to see that we have feedback for the article and the announcement that we did today. Don't forget, everyone, scan the QR code or just go to codesandbox.community and you will meet all of the team there, and more than happy to take your questions. I think this is all for today. We're gonna keep some surprises coming. Thank you, Nicolene, for joining. Thank you, Anshul, for joining. I'm more than happy how this turned out, and happy to see how people react to it. Thank you, and see you online. Bye.